So let's go from the top. Just to recap, our job was to create an entire story with these 5 words: braid, beard, indication, fan, and dance. The theme that we're going with is a Viking theme back in Nordic times, incorporating some Norse mythology. And main protagonist of our story is named Bjorn. So I'll go from the beginning to the middle, and then Dave, you can end it.
Okay.
So it starts off in the middle of the night. We hear a blood-curdling scream from little Freya's room. Everyone rushes into Freya's room. She's sat there. Freya's eyes are rolled back, and she's having one of her seared visions. So she's like kind of possessed, and she tells of this story of a calamity that's coming to Earth, and sees Bjorn bloodied and battered, facing a giant foe. Everyone around them is dead. Village is on fire. She sees basically the equivalent to Ragnarok. The family is worried because Freya is the village seer. People come to their house to get prophecies and well wishes and fortunes told by Freya. So they're worried, and just to make sure, they want to go seek counsel of other seers in another land. So they travel, and when they get to this other land, Bjorn is walking with Freya. She has another vision while with Bjorn, and she tells Bjorn that he must go to the Bifrost and speak with the gods in Asgard in order to save the human realm from calamity. Now they're at the place where the Bifrost should be. It's just a cliff with another overhanging cliff and then the valley below, and then there's the rainbow. People don't believe that Bifrost is kind of real because no one's been able to access it, but turns out Bjorn is actually a demigod. So Freya tells him that he must step onto this rainbow bridge, and he's reluctant because he doesn't know he's a demigod. So he thinks he's just going to fall right to his death if he steps on this rainbow. So he takes one step, trusting his sister's words, and he just enters into another realm. And on this other realm, he's met by a spear in his face. It's Heimdall, the guard of the Bifrost. He said, who are you? What are you doing here? Invader. You must be eliminated now. So Bjorn tells him, we got a vision of Ragnarok coming. Our sister Freya told us that a calamity is coming. There's an evil giant that will bring about great death across the lands. Draugr will overrun villages and just cause chaos. Now, Heimdall is just puzzled because he thinks Bjorn is a human. So he just makes the connection that Bjorn must be half god or part god. So he takes Bjorn's message, delivers it to the higher gods in Asgard. Bjorn returns to the human realm. His family seeks counsel from the seers. They say they haven't had visions like that, so it must be a fluke or something, just not to worry about it. They return home to their village, and on the journey home, while Bjorn is just practicing the sword by himself, a raven comes by and speaks to him, confirming the prophecy and the incoming calamity that is about to happen. Now Bjorn is frightened. He doesn't know what to do. So he tells his family, there's a great calamity coming. I've got a sign from the gods that his vision is true. So Bjorn's father is a great warrior, legendary warrior, been through many wars. His beard shows it, his face tattoos. It's got everything. Helmet with horns. All right, so he's practicing with Bjorn, and Eric is sitting there watching intently. Eric is paraplegic. He can't use his legs, but all he wants is to become a great warrior like his father. It's embarrassing for him because all the kids make fun of Eric, and his little brother Bjorn must stick up for him. And he's just tired of it, and he knows a great battle is coming, and he just wants to take part because that's what warriors do. That's how you get into Valhalla, and that's how you get honored there. But he can't because he's unfortunately a paraplegic. So Eric's desires gets noticed by a darker god from the underworld named Balder. Balder manages to contact Eric and whisper sweet nothings into his ears. Dark whisperings saying, Eric, a calamity is coming. Well, he fakes himself. He puts on a facade that he's an actual god. He's not an evil god. He's a real god from Asgard. And he wanted to tell Eric because Eric is the chosen one. Eric is the man to save the humans, save Earth. And in order for him to do that, he must acquire a great power. Eric asks, how do I acquire this great power? And Balder goes, such great power does not come without consequence. And he tells Eric, you must prevent this calamity by killing your brother Bjorn. He is the one. He is the key that ignites this entire thing. And Balder, because he's an evil god, he pulls up a vision and shows Eric a false prophecy. Village is burning. Eric is the one that's bloodied and battered, and his brother Bjorn is the evil giant that stands over him, about to destroy everything. Now Eric is convinced, and Balder says, "You must kill your brother in order to prevent all this, and you will be the greatest warrior on earth, and you will be honored, get all the honors and everything you want in Valhalla." So he hands him a dagger, and Eric goes back to his house. It's at night now. Eric is awake while Bjorn is sleeping peacefully. Eric reaches under his pillow and pulls up said dagger that Balder has handed him. He's hesitant, and he's now hovering over Bjorn with the dagger in both hands, ready to plunge it into Bjorn's chest. He's hesitant still, but he musters up the courage and whispers under his breath, "Sorry, little brother, you must die, but I'll meet you in Valhalla." And right as he's about to plunge the dagger into Bjorn's chest, something just wakes up Bjorn, and he just catches the dagger before it hits him. And he looks up and he sees Eric. He's like, "Eric, what are you doing?" And Eric said, "Don't resist, little brother. You are the key to the calamity. You must be sacrificed for the greater good." And he's putting pressure on the dagger, trying to plunge it into Bjorn's chest. A wrestling tussle ensues, and during this wrestling match, the dagger gets plunged into Eric accidentally, and Eric dies. The family comes in shocked. Bjorn tells the story of what's happened. The family thinks it's due to evil tidings. They catch a glimpse of a dark wolf outside their home that just quickly runs away. Little do they know that that's Balder's animal form, that he was watching the whole thing. So they have a Viking funeral for Eric to honor him. They burn a pyre with his body in it, fan the flames, and just set him out to sea just to honor Eric. And now, Dave, why don't you tell us what is going to happen after the funeral?
So as the pirates set out to sea on fire, they all start to turn their heads and turn back. Balder takes the body off the pyre and submerges it down to the ocean's floor. Here, Balder turns the dead body of Eric into a huge undead giant with a bloodlust that cannot be quenched. He tells him now he must take revenge on his brother for killing him, and he can still be the one to save their village. Eric leaves and goes on the rampage to build up his army of the undead, knocking off village after village, taking their dead and converting them into his own soldiers. The tales and the stories make their way back to Bjorn, still unable to believe these stories of this large giant wiping out villages with his army of the undead. He sends out his men to find and confirm people from those villages to see if this is true. Few of his men die off, but the ones who are able to make it there and come back are able to talk to the wives of the undead men, and they confirm that there has been a large battle in their villages where their men have all been killed, and they were unable to locate their bodies to give them a proper funeral. On one particular night, as everyone in the village is partying and dancing, a massive roar echoes from the sea. It so happens that this night is a full moon, just perfect to be able to see in the darkness. It looks towards the sea as the tide pulls back, exposing fish and other ships that have been sunk. Through what looks like a haze, some movement is seen at the seashore. It looks like bodies, legs, walk onto land. An alarm is blown, and everyone in the village, all the men rush to collect their weapons and their armor for a fight. As they return to the tops of their fencing, the first wave goes out. As the two groups stand, preparing to engage, a large, giant figure emerges from the water. To Bjorn's horror, it dons the face of his late brother. The command is given by the giant Eric to attack, and the first wave of battle begins. The undead kills the first wave of fires from the village with ease. They get to the walls and begin to scale it. Arrows with fire tips rain down on them from above, killing some of the undead. The Vikings decide to pour and shoot lava balls at the undead, which is more effective at wiping out massive numbers. But just as they kill, more and more waves come out of the ocean. It's like a never-ending amount of soldiers. Eventually, the undead get to the wall and scale over it. They begin to kill every person in sight. Man, women, child, fighter. The old, the sick, makes no difference. Bjorn is fighting manically, trying to succeed and keep himself alive and protect his village. He's succeeding for now. And when it appears he is safe, a loud, thunderous cry pierces the night sky. It's his late brother running full speed at him. Bjorn gets ready for battle. As he's about to attack, Eric, being bigger and stronger now, pushes him back, and with a clap, he knocks him down to his feet. And is about to attack again when Bjorn jumps up to his feet and dodges the blow. Just as Bjorn thinks that he may have an upper hand, the axe comes twirling back around on him and gives him a deadly blow. In his haze, Bjorn looks around and sees most of everyone in the village dead. His vision is starting to become blurry, and it seems the prophecy is starting to become true of what his sister originally saw. As it appears all hope is lost, a light beams down brighter than the moon onto Bjorn. His wounds begin to heal, and his weapon turns to gold. As if second nature, Bjorn strikes and lands a blow on Eric, knocking him back and leaving a deep cut. Eric shouts to Bjorn that he's the true savior and that he should stand down and die in order to save the village. Bjorn tells him he knows not what he says, and they go blow for blow. Just as Eric is about to deliver a killing blow on his brother, Bjorn raises his sword and pierces it through his head, killing him. The undead, as if on command, drop dead. Eric's soul is seen leaving the body of the giant and rising to the heavens above. Through some twist of fate, Bjorn has saved the rest of his village and himself, turning him into Bjorn the demigod. The end.
That's right. Pegasus wings sprouts from his back, and he just flies off into the sunset.